بسم الله. الحمد لله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد عبدك ونبيك ورسولك النبي وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. رضي الله عن أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. يا همة الشيخ احضرينا بهذا المحضر وانتأتي بنظرة تأتي لنا بظفر. أما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone to our weekly class with Shaykh Ameen Abdul Awal. Alhamdulillah, we've been doing these classes every week. This is the third week now, and Shaykh Ameen is one of our elders. He is, as far as I know, the person who's been teaching this subject of fiqh according to a madhab, the traditional way, longer than anybody in this country. You know, for 50 years now. He studied this information from Dr. Suleiman Dunya, world-renowned scholar of Maliki fiqh and theology and tasawwuf. I won't give a long introduction because I did that a couple weeks back, but without further ado, I'm going to pass it on to my teacher, Shaykh Ameen Abdul Awal, and I want to ask everyone if you have questions to text your questions in the chat. Text your questions in the chat, and I'm going to be reading them, and after the Shaykh is finished, we'll ask him those questions, as many of them as we're able to get to, inshallah. So please text your questions in the chat, and inshallah we can start. Bismillah. Please, Shaykh, can you start us off?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وصحبه وتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. اللهم صل على محمد النبي الأمي وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين وذرياته وآل بيت كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. And above. So I've been trying to give information that is much needed to the people online. Actually, I've never been a person to want to do online work. I prefer to look at the people that I'm teaching eye to eye and face to face. But under these circumstances, I think it's necessary to have some type of Islamic work being done, in spite of the fact that we can't all sit together and do as we normally would do in the masjid, in the class, and like that. So I want to tell you that I've learned from many years of working with the ulama that anytime they're giving you information, that information is valuable and is something that the people should really cling to. I know a lot of people are more interested in me reading from the book here, which I will do. But also, you know, I think you have to know that there are some major problems we have that reading from this book without first making it clear on what those problems are is not going to help. You will just be gathering information. But, people are, you know, they want what they want when they want it. So I'm going to try to accommodate you to some point. But you need to know that we have some major situations that have to be rectified before learning fiqh is going to help to change our condition. A major thing, and after I tell you this, I will go right to this class. A major thing is something they call, that the people today are calling the kula. The kula meaning that the woman has taken the right for divorce as long as she can pay the brother back whatever he's given her in the past. So I have to tell you that the procedure they're using, there is such a thing, but the procedure that they're using is not the proper procedure. What it's doing is destroying family. Destroying family. And to destroy family is the opposite of what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent here to do. This is why the ulama always work towards keeping families together. If you go to them for a decision, the last thing that they will tell you, they will try to avoid this like the plague. They're going to always try to keep you together, not to separate you. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has left the right of divorce in the hands of the man. You see, he didn't give the right of divorce to the woman. But the kula is in case that there is some major problem that the woman is having, and the man will not try to work to rectify it. In this case, she should go to a scholarly person, tell them her problem, preferably take her husband with her. If he won't go, she has the right to tell the imam or the Shaykh or whoever is in charge where he can be found, and he should send for him so that they can work to fix their family. This is the right way to fix their family. It should not be where a woman can be sleeping and wake up in the morning and say to the man, I'm divorcing you. I don't want to be with you no more. I'm going to give you back what you gave me, and we're going to be divorced. This is not the right way. And unfortunately, the people of today are taking this as if you're on a date or something and you decide you don't want to be with that person anymore. Marriage, according to Islam, should be forever. The niyyah is forever. And only under extenuating circumstances does a woman even have the right to complain against her husband to the imam. Like this. If he hits her in the face, or if he's an alcoholic, or if he's a womanizer, a gambler, a drug addict, if he is taking the household money and gambling with it, these type of things are terrible for her to live under that condition. And if he won't help her by giving her a divorce, then she has the right to complain against him. But I have had many people come to me with this excuse that I don't love him anymore, and I want to be divorced from him, or he won't listen to me, and I want to divorce him, and these type of things. All of these things are fraudulent excuses for a divorce. Fraudulent. Your emotions might tell you one thing, but Islam will tell you something different. You see, we spend so much time with the movie version of I love you that we forget what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. He said, love comes in time, with time. See? And when they explain that, they mean that from watching the actions of the person that you marry, seeing their work, trying to be pious people, it instills in you a love for that person. It's not like Hollywood where you see a person and bam, I'm in love, no. So many of the people don't even give it a chance. 6 months, 6 days. These things are ridiculous. It's not the Islamic way. Where you have children and then the children do not have 2 parents in their home. This whole thing is backwards. It's destructive to our nation. I've been sent here mainly to help to build Islam in America. You cannot build Islam if you break in the rules. The rule of divorce does not belong to the women. If right now we polled all the people that are listening, do they know about somebody who has had a cooler divorce, or if they themselves have had that? I can guarantee you many of the people will say, yes, Shaykh, you're right. Because this has become a fad. It's not even done properly. And any imam who just randomly tells a sister, which they don't do, in general, these decisions, she makes them on her own because she can't find anyone who agrees with her. Unless she walks in with a big black eye, or bruises, police complaints against this brother, or some other things like that, they will not automatically tell her you have the right to divorce him. It doesn't belong to women like that. My advice to you is to check your procedures, because many people who have done this, thinking that they have done the right thing, have not done the right thing. And like everything else, we will have to deal with our situations when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This particular one is not only for you, difficult to make it difficult for the brother or the kids, but it makes it difficult for the nation. Okay. I'm sorry that I had to tell you that, but this venue for information has some benefit. The benefit is that you can reach a lot of people in a short amount of time. So I think that it was necessary for me to tell you some of the things I've been telling you, because I may never be able to tell you again. And everybody doesn't talk the way I talk, straight to you. Everybody doesn't do that. Okay. Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Right now, I'm going to do a subject that everybody thinks they already know, which is wudu. And I'm going to give you this discourse. Imam Saeed, long time ago, he sent for me and he said, I want you to make a subject of wudu and ghusl for the people in, I think it was Trinidad. And I said, oh, okay. He said, yeah, I want you to do that. Make some copies of it, and then I'll make more copies, and we're going to send it to them so that they will know how to make wudu. So I said, okay. And this subject is from the Shara Sagriya on the wudu. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. It should be known that the first principle of Islam is to declare La ilaha illallah wa Muhammadar Rasulullah, that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is his apostle. It should be known that the second principle of Islam is to offer the obligatory prayers 5 times a day. Person can't say they're a Muslim. I mean, they can say it, but their actions are not proving it if they're not making their prayers 5 times a day and they have the ability to do so. It should be also known that a prayer will not be accepted if wudu or ablution is not properly performed. So if you don't have no wudu, then you won't have a prayer. That's what they're saying. In fact, there are some reasons when, you won't be able to make wudu and you will still be able to keep your prayer, but, it has some other things that you have to do for the sake of purity under circumstances. Now, they have something called al-hadis. Al-hadis, it means a spiritual impurity. Al-hadis, a spiritual impurity. It means something that requires wudu. Uthman reported Allah's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wasallam as saying, my people will be summoned on the day of resurrection with white faces, hands and feet from the marks of ablution. If anyone can extend his rightness, let him do so. So the ulama, when they talk about that hadith, they say, if he can extend his brightness, it means that he does all of his wudu, his procedures for wudu, in the sunnah of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, which once again we get to the need for knowledge. Sometimes you will see, if you're in the wudu station, people are making wudu, what they call wudu, but it doesn't resemble what we've known wudu to be. My teacher used to say, they don't just wipe the parts of the body that requires wudu, but they wudu their clothes, they wudu the wall, they wudu everything, and thinking that they are making a better wudu by the more water that they use and splash all over the place. This is not a proper way of making wudu. So wudu, we're gonna look at how it was done by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It says the first thing is to make sure of your niyyah or your intention. And you say, I intend to make wudu. But when they say you say I intend to make wudu, they don't mean that you say aloud, I intend to make wudu. No, that's not what they mean. They mean inwardly you are saying, I'm gonna make wudu. And you must say Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim or Bismillah. But you don't have to say that again aloud. You can say it softly to yourself as you're going to start to make your wudu. You have to be sure that you have taken off all excess dirt that would stop the water from touching the skin. And then as we go along, I'm going to tell you some things that you won't be able to completely comply with that, but you will be able to still keep your wudu. And it depends on what is your line of work. Some work that people have, they get things on their arms and on their hands that it doesn't come off easily. It would take quite a while, especially if you're doing this every day for your job. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving of things that you can't prevent, and you can't do anything about it at the time. You can't change it. You see, so you have to work. So let's say a person works with something that gets on his skin, but it's almost impossible to remove that from his skin, and he still have to make wudu. It's forgiven. Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Now, this thing about saying the Bismillah or Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, there's some difference of opinion as to whether or not more should be said than just saying Bismillah. But we are sure of this much. All schools agree that at least Bismillah must be said. So you're going to find in fiqh that even in the madhab itself, there will be times when there will be differences of opinion by the ulama. The ulama of the same madhab sometimes, they have a difference of opinion as to what is the best procedure. And as we go along, I will explain, give you some understanding of why, inshallah, of why these things have arisen in which they have some difference of opinion. And this comes from something called usul al-fiqh. It means the foundations, the principles, what they build their decision on, where it came from. These things called usul al-fiqh. And in the same madhab, many times, you will find that the usul of one ulama is not exactly the same as the usul of the next ulama, and therefore they have some difference of opinion. But this is not for you to worry about. We're only going to talk about the things that are basically all agreed upon. As I said, Bismillah, all agree upon at least that much. Yani, first you should wash your hands. The right, then the left. 3 times, including nails and knuckles. So we're going to do the right hand 3 times. Then we're going to do the left hand 3 times. It's a funny thing that now everyone is washing their hands so many times for this virus. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect us from this virus, this plague, and to help us to be free from it soon, inshallah. So you have to know that washing of the hands for wudu is a little different, because we have to use the method of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I see sometimes on the news and things like that where they're showing people how to wash their hands. And I don't want the Muslims to be misunderstood. When you wash your hands for wudu, you can't use soap. Only pure natural water for wudu. And in another segment of this class, I'm going to talk about water and which water is acceptable for wudu, which water is acceptable for purity, and so on and so forth. Okay. So you're going to wash the right 3 times, then the left 3 times, including the nails and the knuckles. You know, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam advised us about the fingernails, that the shaitan, a'udhu billahi, he takes garbage under the nails. So he advised us to be very meticulous in our wudu and make sure we clean our nails with the water, and don't give the shaitan, a'udhu billahi, a place for rest. So it tells you if you have a toothstick, you should use it. Then rinse your mouth 3 times. And you should spit with enough force to remove any particles or anything left in the mouth. It don't mean that you should go, it means you should spit, but not crazy, you know. Use some manner of adab. Yani, and this thing with the toothstick, the Sahabas say that the Prophet ﷺ advised about using the toothstick so much that they thought he was going to make it fard, wajib, yani, obligatory. Huh? And so, you know, we know that anything he talked about that much is very important, that that we take benefit from the knowledge that he's given us and try to put it into action. But it has some things I need to tell you. First thing is, as my teachers say, the people should stop using their mishwak in public. He say it's the same thing as if you pulled out your toothbrush and brush your teeth and did like that in public. He say don't do that. That's really bad manners. That you use your mishwak the same way you would use a toothbrush when you're cleaning yourself and making yourself prepared for prayer. This mishwak is the proper thing to do before you start to pray, but not publicly. You go to the area where you're cleaning yourself and you use your mishwak in that area. He said that a toothbrush is allowed to take the place of the mishwak, that it serves that purpose and it was okay to use it. But of course, you know, somebody's going to say, I never heard that before. Well, I'm so used to that now it's like kind of like funny, because the person who says that, if they don't have more credentials, more time in this field, more approval, then they should be quiet, because they sound idiotic. It sounds like the Mujtahid Imam must have your permission that, you know, what he's saying or what he taught me, and have to agree with you. Because if that was the case, then why would somebody have to spend more than half their life as a student and teacher? They could just do what you did to come to the conclusion, which means that it wouldn't be necessary to do these other things, go away to school and sit down for long periods of time with the ulama, you know. So that whole statement is a really bogus statement for somebody to make, that whenever something from a person of scholarship tells you something, if you don't know it, instead of you saying, you know, thank you, I'm going to look into that, you say, I never heard that before. So who cares whether you heard it before or not? You're not the criteria for right and wrong. People got that all mixed up and mistaken. I'm sorry, sometimes I get a little emotional about these things, because you got to remember, been doing this so long, and you know, fighting with the people so long, that I'm just tired. In any case, after you do that, 3 times you rinse your mouth. Each time you put water in and then spit the water out, it's 1 time. In and out is 1 time. Then we have You rinse the nose 3 times. Sniff the water in and blow it out equals 1 rinse. So when you blow out your nose, sniff it in and blow it out, you don't do it so hard that you give yourself a nosebleed. I've had people ask me how hard. I always tell them, well, you know, if you don't know when you're hurting yourself, you know, how can I tell you? You know, you have to use your common sense. If you blow it out so hard that it make your nose bleed, then you're blowing too hard. Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak Allah Sayyidina Muhammad. You should wipe the face 3 times. First, 1 time from the beginning of the forehead to the end of the chin or beard. 1 time from the forehead to the end of the chin or beard. If the beard is thin, you should try and touch the skin. If the beard is thick, you can just wipe over the beard. Then you should wipe over the arms 3 times. First the right, then the left. Be sure to wipe up to the elbows and over the hands and the fingertips when you do your arms. Again, when you do your arms, you want to wipe up to the elbow. You want to wipe over your hands and your fingertips 3 times. Then you should wipe from the front to the back over your head in the madhab of Imam Malik 1 time. 1 time. Like this, once over and once back. That constitutes 1 time. Once over and once back. That constitutes 1 time. Somebody would say, that's 2 times. But I'm telling you that is considered in the madhab as 1 time. To go from the front to the back and the back to the front is considered as 1 time, and that's all you need to do the head according to the Imam Malik madhab. And then from this 1 time, you're going to do this. 1 time the ears. 1 time the ears. Be sure you don't do a whole lot of water in the ears. It's not good for your health. This wiping for the ears is put the thumb at the lobe. When you come up, you're doing the inside and the outside at the same time. Like that. Then you must wipe over your feet 3 times. Right, then left. Be sure to get the ankles and the heels in the wiping. And only use your left hand for the wiping of the feet. If you take care of your wudu like that, it will enhance your prayer. This is the method that the Prophet ﷺ used all the time, so much so that the Sahaba spent a lot of time learning how to perfect that wudu to help to make their prayers better. Okay. I'm going to ask Habib if any questions are coming in regarding this subject that I'm talking about now, as I'm talking.
Yes, Sheikh. There's one regarding the wudu.
As you like, tell me that.
Yes, the sister asked, how about wiping of the head for women? Is it the same as for men, or are there any concessions?
The only difference is that when she goes to wipe, if she's wearing something on her head, which most women will be doing, inshallah, she will not be able to wipe over that cloth on her head. She will have to, let me show you the method. She will have to go behind the cloth, underneath it, go down, come back up, and then take her hands away. It's the exact same method, but she has to know she can't wipe over the head covering. So what does that tell you? It tells you that since she's going to have to make wudu, like men, the same thing, she can't wear things on her head so tight that she can't put her hand in to touch the hair. You see, she unless she's at home and she says, "Okay, I gotta make wudu," she can take it apart, wipe over her head, put it back on again. But you can't do that publicly. At least they shouldn't do that publicly. In any case, the wiping itself is the same. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about what's called fard. Fard means things that are obligatory. That if you don't do it, you didn't do it properly. You didn't do things properly. Fard. In FIqh, there's some things that everybody who studies FIqh come to know. In our madhab, in the madhab Imam Malik rahmatullahi, it says fard, sunnah, and mustahab. They have something called mubah in other fiqh, other madhab. Mubah means something that is neutral, but Imam Malik doesn't keep that. He doesn't have that. It's either this or that. He doesn't have this neutral position. So, fard is something that is absolutely necessary. It's obligatory. If you omit it, you have lost that action. The first fard, the obligatory of ablution, is the intention, the niyyah. To remove al-hadith al-asghar. It means these things that need to be removed from you, things, the purity has to be restored to you by making wudu. And these are the small actions that take you out of a state of wudu, like urine, when you make urine, breaking of wind, physical excrements. You know what I mean? Physical excrements, like when you go to the toilet, sleep, touching the skin or person of strange women for men and strange men for women, and receiving some pleasure from touching will result in the breaking of ablution. Kissing your wife or husband in the mouth and receiving pleasure will break wudu. Now, step by step. Urine from yourself, if it's small, a small amount, sometimes when you go and you make urine, you get a little trickle of urine that may touch you, may touch your clothes, may touch your skin. Well, you must try and remove that But if it's small and you don't get it all, it's forgiven. If it's your urine. If it's somebody else's urine, it's called a physical impurity. It means that it must be removed. You can't miss it. It must be removed if it's somebody else's urine. If it's your urine and it's small, like when you make your urine and then you go to stand up or something like that, and a small thing drops, a little drop or something, this is totally forgiven. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to make sure you got that spot and got rid of it. If it's your urine. If it's a lot, you have to clean yourself completely to remove the urine. But if it's small, don't worry, it's okay. You'll be safe with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because these things will happen to anybody that sometimes they will get a little leakage from their self. Then you have the breaking of wind. The breaking of wind has some things that you have to know. Will you consider that as the need for a new wudu? But it has to be more than just one thing. He says, do you feel it? Do you hear it? Or do you smell it? If it's only one of them, you don't consider that you've made a problem for yourself. If it's only one of them, you have the right to go forward and ignore that. But if it's two or more, then you have broken wudu and you have to make a new one. I hope you understood what I said. If it's only one of them, it could be that, you heard something, but you're not sure, did you pass gas? So you have to say, did I smell it? Did I feel it? Or I just heard something. So this is the decision regarding when you break wind. What makes you need the wudu. And the jurists have a talk, they call it, let me see. The name for it is a sickness. I can't. Huh?
They have fat
Flagellant?
Shaykh, you mean salus?
Salus. Salus is the thing that, thank you, Habib.
Thank you, Shaykh.
Now, salus is the thing that is a sickness that makes you either urine consistently or pass gas consistently. These two things, they have a measure that tells you whether you can annoy it, ignore it, or do you have to do something, make a new wudu. They say if it comes half the time between a prayer, if it comes half the time between a prayer or more, it's a sickness. And you can ignore it. After you make your wudu, when that happens again, you don't have to go back and make another wudu. Then when it happens again, you don't have to go back and make another wudu. But if it's between each prayer, if it comes half the time between a prayer, you consider that as a sickness. And you can make a wudu and go forward and ignore the rest. But when you know that you have this problem, you must see a doctor. You can't go through the rest of your life like that. You must see a doctor, and the doctor must try to help you to find out, because it could be a lot of different things, but usually it comes from the stomach, from the diet. So the doctor may tell you you're eating too much of this, or you shouldn't eat any more of that, or something like that, until you can find the problem and rectify it. But in the meantime, if it comes half the time, so somebody will say, well, Shaykh, what do you mean half the time? I mean, if you count the hours between one prayer and the next, and then you make a judgment on how many times you're either passing gas or making urine, and if it's happening half the time between those hours, you consider that you have some physical problem that needs to see a doctor. Or maybe you can even track it down and say, you know, every time I eat this, I get that, which tells you I need to eliminate that from my diet because it keeps making me have this problem with either passing gas or too much urine. Okay. In regards to sleep, I've had people say to me, Sheikh, there's a hadith that says if you stand up and you go and you if you're standing or leaning on the wall or something and you doze off, you know, you're not asleep. Well, I choose to differ with you based on what the Shadow Sagriya calls sleep. And they give an example. An example is whether you're standing, sitting, or lying. If you had something in your hand and you did like this, nodded out, or took a quick nap, and when you woke up, the thing you had in your hand was on the floor and you didn't know it had happened, you consider that you were asleep. You're not asleep if you have something in your hand. They're giving you a judgment, a way to judge. You have something in your hand, and it falls from your hand, and when it falls, immediately that it falls from your hand, you bend over to pick it up. You wasn't asleep. You're asleep whenever something happens while you're asleep, whether you're sitting, standing, leaning, it doesn't matter, and you didn't know it happened. When you don't know it happened, you're considered as sleep. So again, people who are untrained in fiqh often read something or read a hadith or something like that, and then they start to spread that information as if they have been trained for that. It's a very bad thing to do because many times you're giving people the wrong information, and you will be responsible for them having the wrong information from you, and for all the people that will learn the wrong information from them who learned it from you. And it will all, when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it will all come back to you. So, you know, be careful on trying to tell people something that you wasn't trained to tell. Okay. Then we talk about touching the skin of a person, like a strange man for women and a strange woman for men, and receiving some pleasure from it. That breaks wudu. And this is why I always taught my female, especially my female students, when you're out in public and you're buying from the stores, and the man goes to give you change, tell him to put it down on the counter. You don't want him to stick it in your hand and you get the feeling from his hand. See, it's not a debate. You just tell him, put it on the counter, and then you pick it up. So the man is basically the same, except usually the man is only going to be attracted to certain people. He's not, you know, he's not going to be susceptible to a woman trying to make him do something he don't want to do. And he's physically the stronger party, so Islam says, he doesn't have to be quite as careful unless he knows himself. When you walk in the store, if you walk in the store or you something like that, and you look at this person serving the people and you say, wow, what a gorgeous lady. I sure like to meet her. And then you stick your hand out for your change with the hope that you get some touch from her. This has broken your wudu. So, if you know yourself and you feel that kind of, you tell her also, just put the change down. You don't have to have her touching you. See? But this is bigger for women. One of the things about the woman is that she's not considered as physically strong enough. Some women are. I know some women that learned how to fight. And if a brother tries something with her and he's not a well-trained fighter, he's going to get beat down. But she should still follow the rule. Don't put yourself in a position where they can complain against you before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and say, well, she was flirting with me or something, you see. It's the same thing on the phone. Well, the phone, you can't break your wudu on the phone because it doesn't touch. But you can be accused of flirting by talking so nicely to the brothers on the phone that they're wondering, I wish I could meet that lady. I wish I could meet that sister, because the voice is an aura. An aura means something that shouldn't be heard or seen or felt from somebody who is not your wife, your husband, or your children, or your father, or something like that. So when the woman answers the phone, she should say, hello. And then if a man answers back, she should say, what is it? She shouldn't go, oh, hi, brother, how are you? What can I do for you? No, this is not the right way. She, in fact, should be hard, like, her voice should be stern, Unfortunately, some people have jobs in which the job makes them talk nicely to men. This is not the way it should be. Some people can't avoid that. And what's out of your control is forgiven. But do your best not to sound flirtatious on the phone, and your actions shouldn't appear to be flirtatious to the man, because some men, especially in these times, will follow you. They will follow you out, follow you home, wait around until they can catch you at an inopportune time when nobody's looking and grab you. So, women have to be more careful, because they're not created to be stronger than the man. See? They're not created that way. So occasionally you will find one who, she can beat up on most men, but that's not the norm. So women, please be careful and take these lessons to heart. These are not things I made up. These are lessons from this very powerful Islamic book of jurisprudence that teaches them how to protect themselves. Okay. Then it says, kissing your wife or husband in the mouth and receiving pleasure that will break wudu. So the jurists, when they talk about that, they say, like, if you peck like that, that's nothing. But it's the kiss, the passionate kiss in the mouth, that breaks wudu. Okay. Let me see. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to stop here and look for if there's any questions, because it's almost 1 o'clock, 5 minutes to 1, and it's almost time for the prayer. In fact, I can go a little bit longer for the questions, but because we're still in the odd time for the prayer, but I like to make my prayer on time as best as humanly possible. Okay. Habib,
Yes, Sheikh.
you have something else for me?
Yes, we got some questions. So I'll start with the questions that pertain specifically to wudu. Someone asked, with wudu, what about washing between the toes? I'm assuming they mean to ask, is it fard, or is it sunnah, or is it, or do you not have to do it?
Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. This is a question that goes all the way back to the time of Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi. And they found some fault with Imam Malik rahmatullahi alayhi, because when he was explaining wudu, he didn't tell them to do between the toes. Whereas the other imams used to always emphasize doing between the toes. So Imam Malik took that as a correction for himself, and he told the people at least one time you should do in between the toes. At least one time you should do in between the toes. So because the other imams emphasized that so much so, my teachers say, do it 3 times if it doesn't give you some problem. That some problem means that you have something that water hurts your toes. See, it hurts in between your toes. Men probably understand this better, because a lot of us get athlete's feet, things like that, from athletics, things like that. So, but yes, you should do at least one time in between the toes, and if there's nothing to stop you, then do all 3 times. As you like.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you, Sheikh. The next question is about the niyyah, the intention. Someone asked, when you make the niyyah for wudu, should you also make a niyyah that you're making wudu for a specific prayer?
Absolutely. And that's my next talk would be about the wudu. Even though if you don't make it for a particular prayer, you just want to stay in wudu, because it's recommended that when you break wudu, you should make it consistently, make it again, so you always have wudu. But it enhances, according to the ulama, it enhances the action when you make the niyyah for that action, when you're making purity, when you're cleaning yourself. So yes, if you can, and you remember, you should say what you're in your niyyah, what prayer you're making this wudu for. But if you don't, it doesn't take the wudu away. You don't lose the wudu. You understand me? You don't lose the wudu if you don't have the ability, or you don't remember to say what are you making this wudu for? Okay, as you like.
And to everyone, I just want to say, if you, after Sheikh answers your question, if you're not clear, you have a follow-up question, please type that. Let us know. Let us know in the text if you have a follow-up question, and I can ask it and be as specific as you can. The next question, Sheikh, one of the sisters is asking. This is really 2 questions. She's asking about the baby's urine and about the breast milk, if they have breast milk leakage, how this affects. I guess they're asking, is this najis? Like, how does this affect that wudu?
No, the breast milk, don't even worry about it. Let me see. The girl's urine, you should clean it with natural water. The boy's urine, you allowed to sprinkle the baby's urine, you should allow to sprinkle it like that. You don't have to like clean the whole spot, the whole area. You can just do like this and sprinkle the water. But the breast milk, no problem.
No. And Sheikh, this is if the you said if the girl's urine gets on the person, like on the parent, they clean that up.
Or on the place where you pray.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you, Sheikh. And the next question is, so I think this person, I think you kind of already asked this question, but I'll ask it in case there's something I'm missing that you see that you want to add to it.
Yes.
They asked in regards to touching or shaking hands, etc., with people of the opposite sex.
Right.
Is this haram for both sexes, or does it break wudu? So you told us whether or not it breaks wudu. So I told
you it breaks wudu, and I also emphasize to the women especially, don't be shaking hands and touching and stuff, and don't allow men to get so close to you that they can do that if you can avoid it. And then for men, it's unlawful for them. Yani, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not shake hands with women. So I have found in this society that it's like when you try to follow this sunnah, you know, it's sort of difficult here from a man's perspective, because soon as a woman is introduced, like you in business or something like that, you know, the first thing they want to do is walk up to you and stick their hand out in your face, you know, like to shake your hand. So it takes a strong character to say to them, I'm sorry, I don't shake hands. I'm a Muslim, I'm sorry, I don't shake hands with women. So I found that some of them really get offended, you know, because they want to have the same position as men. And that's what that initially what I started this talk about this kula, is that women are trying to take the man's position in divorce, don't belong to them. Okay. Anyway, so yeah, you know, don't just try to keep yourself away from people that are not, you know, mahram, yani the people who are not allowed to you know, to know about things about you from your aura, things that, you know, you should protect from them, keep it away from them, you know, don't let them see. Like sometimes some of the sisters wear a headpiece, and then they wear it in a way that their hair, especially if they have, I've noticed a lot of this from foreign women, that their hair is very nice hair, long hair, so they let it hang out of the headpiece. You know, some of them go even further than that. They take the headpiece down when they're not in the masjid. As soon as they walk out the masjid, the headpiece goes to the neck. And it's not protecting the head anymore from people's vision. So even if you use something besides the traditional looking headpiece, you still have to cover these parts. Anyway, I hope I answered that question to the person's ability to understand me. If not, they can ask more, but I'm going to suggest that, you know, I have many students that could answer some of these questions easily. If you're in Jersey, you know, you should make contact with Haj Dawood. Haj Dawood can answer these questions without no problem. You know, if you're in Manhattan, you know, even though Ahmed is not like one of my students from the madhab actually, but he's an educated person that he can answer these questions for you easily. You know, Habib Rasul, you know, he can answer these questions for you easily. Yani, Ibn Islam, he can answer these questions for you easily if you're in Harlem. You know, Abdullah, absolutely. So, you know, these people, I have quite a few of them. Ibrahim Abdul Samad, he can answer people's questions about these things easily. You know, I guess sometimes people just like to hear me talk about it. I don't know why, but you know, I mean, I have students that are more than capable of answering these questions. So if you find that you're not capable of answering these questions that people ask you, don't feel bad. Just say, you know, I think Shaykh talked to me about that before, but I'm not so up on that right now. I haven't been doing that work for a little while. Let me ask the question, so I don't want to give you the wrong information. See, and then they'll call me. They say, Shaykh, what about so? So I'll tell them, you know, and usually, they don't really need to do that on certain subjects like wudu. I taught this to them so much. Many of those people I just talked about have spent years sitting with me and learning this type of stuff. So they have no excuse. They're supposed to know how to help the people through that. Okay, as you like, Habib.
Yes.
Is that Muhammad's hand?
No, that's my hand. Alhamdulillah. We just put him to sleep. Alhamdulillah.
Oh, mashallah.
Alhamdulillah. Another question someone has, if I understand the question properly, if you're trying to stay in wudu all the time, is there a kind of lesser wudu that you can make before you get ready to make salat?
No.
Okay.
You shouldn't do that, because if I start try to tell people about these type of things, they're going to stop doing the right thing and start taking shortcuts. Just like this class. To me, this is people taking a shortcut, because many of them knew I was teaching lessons in the major masjids, and they wouldn't come to the class. What they would do is, they would say, they'd call me on the phone and say, Shaykh, I intended to come, but I couldn't get over there. So, you know, they never, you know, it's not like something that's preventing them from coming. So, but this way, this is a lazy man's way. So what they'll do is, they'll try to get these same lessons that the people went out to learn by a shortcut of, you know, when I'm teaching it online, they can sit in their home and eat their sandwich. Well, of course, not doing Ramadan, but they can sit in their home and do other stuff and consider that they're getting education. Is not the same. Believe me, it's not the same. Anybody who has spent years coming out and learning consistently, you will see that they have a different perspective on these lessons than the person who is going to try to learn it from online. Okay. So no, you don't do, there's no, you know, for this lesson, there's no shortcuts in wudu when you're going to make prayer. Not unless you have a lack of water, if you have some type of injury that won't allow water to touch you, if you you know, if it's the middle of the winter and you don't have access to anything, no warm water, only the freezing cold water that if you put it on your skin, it's going to make you sick. You know, these are all different positions and they have different decisions, but the wudu from those is kind of different than the normal wudu. You can make, you know, a tayammum or, you know, my teacher used to say, if you only do one wiping, it's stronger than a tayammum, you know, but I don't like to teach that to these people today because they always try to take a shortcut. You tell them something and then they'll abuse the privilege. And next thing you know, you have somebody calling you saying, Shaykh, did you teach somebody that this is the best way to do wudu or something? And I didn't tell them that. You know, I didn't. So, no, I stay away from that. Okay, as you
Alhamdulillah. And the people are chiming in saying that they're understanding. The people who ask the questions are saying that Jazakumullah khair, and they understand the answers. One of our sisters here who lives overseas, she lives in Europe. She's asking, she says she doesn't, you know, just to give context, she doesn't shake hands with men, but she says where she lives, it's seen as culturally offensive when you ask people to put the money on the table. So she's asking, in that situation, if she knows she's not going to feel any pleasure, what should she do? Is it a different situation, or should she still tell the person, they got to put the money on the table?
So sometimes I would go into different stores, and when I go into the store, there are many times, especially in the areas of like the Bronx, Brooklyn, and Harlem, there would be Arabic-speaking people. Many times there would be people who actually know me from someplace, like they see me giving a lecture or something, and they would say to me, "Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh, I want to ask you a question." It's okay. I say, I came over here last year, and my cousin who owns this store, he gave me a job, and on the job, they're selling beer and wine and cigarettes and the gambling thing, the lottery and all. He said, and I just want to know, what is my position with that? I'm going to answer your question. What is my position with that? Now, I would tell them, because I'm not allowed to like go by nobody's emotions and nothing like that. I have to tell them what I was trained to tell them. So I'll say, well, all of these things are unlawful that you're talking about, and it's not a good place for you to be working. But if you don't have a choice, like if you have to pay your rent, and I can't tell you don't work and pay your rent, but I can tell you that you should be looking for another employment place that don't have these problems immediately. So they would say, okay, Sheikh, I leave, and then if I came back to the store to see how he made out, most of the time that person would be gone. Like I'd ask the owner, I say, well, where's Abdullah? Oh, Abdullah, he left the store. He got another job. Alhamdulillah. Then sometimes you go back a year later, and the same guy will still be there. So the conclusion is that it depends on the iman of the person. What are they ready to deal with? See? So I can't tell her to be offensive to anybody, but I can tell her that it has to be what she is comfortable with presenting that to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at the end of the day. See? So some women will say, no question, I'm not doing that no more. Because I'm not gonna, people not gonna be able to save me when I meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I could get myself into some danger by ignoring an order not to do it. So they won't do it. Then some other people will say, yeah, but I don't want to offend the people. So so it depends on the iman of the person, what they do with their decision making. And this is what changes the condition of one person over another. That what are you ready to deal with for your faith? Okay. So okay, that's enough.
Am I still on mute? Shaykh, can you hear me?
Say it again.
Oh, I was making sure you can hear me. So the last question we have, I think this will be the last one because it's 1:15. Are there conditions for virtually following an imam for tarawih? So as the first class, someone asked about in this pandemic situation with this plague, where people are doing tarawih, following the imam. So he's asking, are there other conditions for that, or what are the conditions for that?
I don't want to make a fatwa on that, but I mean, if there's nothing that stops you from doing it in a traditional manner, you should do it in a traditional manner. I can't think of some, they'd have to say, well, I have this problem or that problem. And then I could tell them, whether or not you know, it falls in that category. But for me to think up a situation for you, for me, that would be considered as hypothetical. And in my mother, I'm not allowed to deal with hypothetical and to make up things for you so you could have some decision about this. If you come to me and say, Shaykh, I have this condition and I want to know if I can do this or that, I have the right to answer you. But if you asking me, can you think of a condition that I may have that's hypothetical? And so I don't answer hypothetical.
No.
As you like.
No. And for the person who asked that question, I don't know if you have a follow up. I wonder if maybe they're asking for in our condition with this plague, if a person's going to do tarawih over the computer, is there something is there some specific way they should go about doing it or something like that?
Look, Isaac is an IT man. And he can tell you how to set up your computer and your camera and whatever you have to do. Me, I don't know nothing about that. So, it would be futile for me to try to tell you, the only thing I can say is that if you're going to do that, you have to have yourself in the position that the people can see you. Like you can see me on this camera here. If I could position it in a way that when I'm going to ruku, you can see me do ruku. When I stand up from ruku, you can see me stand. When I go into sujood, you can see me bow, go into sujood, and so on and so forth. If you can set up your cameras like that, and the people who are, it's not the same. Listen, it's not the same. But, it's better than nothing under these conditions. See? Just like in some masjids, like where I go, it's like a very big place. And so they have television cameras. If you are upstairs or downstairs, you can see the people and the imam making the movements of the prayer, so you know how to follow. Because if nobody can see that, it will be confusion. So that's the main thing you have to do, is try to avoid the confusion, and have the right audio so that the people can hear you as you are leading the prayer. But it's not the same. It's just a condition based on the period that we're in. Okay.
And Sheikh, there's one more question that's pretty short, so I'll ask this last question. This is a different question than before, but someone asked, as far as the woman getting changed, can she wear gloves?
Yes. If she had the gloves on, it's okay. Absolutely.
Okay.
But I want to say something. We almost finished. Our time is up. I'm going to make my prayer. Inshallah. But I want to tell you something. We have many heroes amongst the Muslims here in America. Many heroes. My wife is a hero. So all of these things that I'm saying to women, I say them also to all my female students. I say that to all my family members, female family members, and I try to teach them the best way to do things. But my wife is a hero, because when I needed to go to learn these things to be able to help the people in the future, my wife would make me go to be with Dr. Dunya. And I would leave her many times with 4 children, little children. Sometimes there would not be very much food in the home. And I would do all I could, but I wasn't able to do everything. So my wife would say to me, you must go to Dr. Dunya. And she wouldn't take no for an answer. So I would go back to Dr. Dunya. When I think about those things today, and I look at the way the people are behaving today, they are preventing the brother, the ones who are doing this and trying to change the brother's mind and make him follow whatever she want him to follow and these type of things. If the brother say, well, I don't want to go there to eat dinner because they serve alcohol, and she'll try to convince him, oh, that's okay. The alcohol is on the other side. The brother will be like, nah, it's all the same. I don't want to go there. Let's find some place that don't serve alcohol. And then she'll get angry and say, oh, brother, man, you got these problems. You got all these different problems, you know. And then if he don't change to fit her way, then she want to divorce him. So, you know, all of my brothers that I'm taught, that I know, they have really good wives. So the stuff I'm saying, it don't apply to them. It don't apply to them. See, you know whether it applies to you or not, and you know if the shoe fits or not. So don't get offended about what I'm saying if it don't fit you. See, when I'm teaching these classes, one of the reasons I like to look at who I'm talking to is because the American Muslims in particular, the African American Muslims, are so emotional that if you say something, you may not even know that you offended his trend of thought. See? And then he start acting funny and stuff, and you be wondering, what did I do? I just gave him the answer from the jurist. And, you know, but if you don't say it to them in the right way, and you know, if you talk a little too strongly, or, you know, they get offended. Come on, I don't really have time to play that game with you. So if the shoe don't fit, don't wear it. Simple as that. Okay. Allahumma inni as'aluka min kulli khairin salaka minhu Muhammadin nabiyyuka sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. وأعوذ بك من كل شر استعطاك منه محمد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم. اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أسررنا وما لنا وما أنت عالم به من نار. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. اللهم إني أعوذ بك من المحيا والممات ومن فتنة القبر ومن فتنة المسيح الدجال ومن عذاب النار وسوء المصير. So you sisters who've been following the rules and doing good and helping your husbands and being useful and doing the things that give him free time and let him have the ability to be a good Muslim brother and work hard for Islam, I congratulate you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is holding something special for you, especially from the ones who are living in this period now, when the women are so confused. And it's our fault too, because, you know, we should set up and make it easy for them to learn. Or when you go out and learn, you should bring that information home with you so that they can learn. But it's mandatory. It's mandatory that our women must get stronger. They got to get more knowledgeable. And they have to realize that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala left the man in charge for a reason. It's not just because he's got bigger muscles, but he was created to be able to have the outside world, but he was created to have the outside, to learn from the outside and bring it home with him. So the brothers, you're responsible. You know, some brothers like to let their wife not know. They like for them to remain ignorant. And they're going to be punished for that too. Wallahi. Allahu alam. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi. So real quick before everyone goes, one of the things I wanted to mention in the beginning that I forgot I want to mention now, these lessons that Shaykh Ameen is teaching come from the book, the Shar as-Saghir. The Shar as-Saghir of Shaykh Ahmed Dardir, which is the one of the highest level, some will say the highest level book for opinions in the madhab. So if you talk to one of the shuyukh at Azhar, or one, I won't say any names, but any of the famous people that you may know of who also, you know, have some idea of the Maliki madhab, if you ask them a question and if you tell them the ruling came from the Shar as-Saghir, they will submit and say, yeah, that's what we submit to. And I've experienced this myself. So I just want people to know, in case they missed one of our previous classes, what type of information that we're getting. You normally don't get information on this level unless you fluent in the language and been studying for many years. So this is a big facilitation that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. It's like he made the road short. He like folded the road up for us, like cut a corner for us. So, alhamdulillah, congratulate everybody who's here taking advantage of these lessons from Shaykh Ameen when we have the ability to. And I don't know if Sidi Ishaq has any announcements, anything he wants to make before we close out.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. We want to thank Shaykh Ameen and Sidi Habib, Rasul Miller. Shaykh Ameen, thank you for the classes, and thank you for the way you present and being straightforward with the people. This is something that we need, alhamdulillah. I also wanted to mention a Maliki FIqh class that Dr. Habib Rasul Miller is teaching on Thursdays at 11:30. We have that. He's been teaching that for about a year now, and inshallah he's going to start the book over. Am I correct, Sidi Habib?
Yes, absolutely.
And so, like the Sheikh mentioned, if you have more in-depth questions, Habib Rasul is available in this class. And so, alhamdulillah, we thank you for coming, and we hope that you continue to come. If there's nothing else, Sheikh, Sidi Habib, inshallah, we can close, inshallah.
Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you, Sheikh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullah.
Alhamdulillah.
I hope it helps the people some, inshallah.
It's people every day. People telling me all the time. People telling me how much they appreciate the class and how much they appreciate this. So it's definitely helping us. Alhamdulillah. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Ameen.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone.